Hi, my name's Rhyan Arietta, and I have different earrings on, so you're left wondering if I filmed this the same day as the last video or not. So this video has a title, so you probably know what's happening, so let's get right into my list of 10 things of how to cope with change. Number 1, it's uncomfortable, but it's also relatable. I know change is uncomfortable, and not knowing what's going to happen is also uncomfortable, but everyone else is going through the same thing as you. Often when changes are occurring, we can feel isolated and alone, but I promise you, you're not. Everyone feels this way when change is occurring, and just to relate to other people can make you feel less alone and just better about your situation. For example, with COVID and getting shut down or going into lockdown, everyone was feeling the same thing, so it would often be easy to relate to someone else to feel less isolated. This one works for some people and not for others, but sometimes gathering information can help you feel more in control of the situation. Doing your research on the unknown makes it feel, well, less unknown and more of a comfortable situation. I mean, information is power, so do your research. For example, if you're gonna go order clothes online and you don't know how the quality of the clothes will be, instead of being unsure about it, you can do your research and read reviews, so then you have more control so you know what you're buying. I know that's like a very small scale example, but this can also be used for way bigger things than that. Number 3, keep looking forward. If the past isn't coming back, why do we keep dwelling on it? It's totally okay to think of the past and be happy, but to think of the past and say, I just want to go back to that, and just keep thinking you want to go back instead of making your future even better can often halt your progress. When you keep thinking of how good your life was before, it can often make the future seem terrible. You have ultimate control of what happens in your life to come. So why don't you make your... Why did race car just have to like fly through my neighborhood? Like, you ultimately have control of where your future is taking you, so why don't you just step right into the driver's seat like the person who's driving outside and you can probably hear, and take control of your life and make your future even better than the past. For example, when we all were put into lockdown, you can't really see your friends. So if I kept looking on my past and saying I could see all my friends then, and I can't now, so I just want everything to go back to the past, I could take control and I could say I'm gonna FaceTime all my friends and we can bake cookies while we're on FaceTime and have a blast. Number 4, take small steps. When looking at a whole staircase, it can often be scary, but when focusing on just one step, the change can look smaller. Relating it to change, it would be that if there's a big change going on, you can just focus on a small section of it and wrap your mind around that small section before you think of the whole big change in itself. I had a lot of hand motions, but I hope that helped explain things. For example, going into online school, just looking at online school as a whole, it can be very scary. And if I just took one aspect of online school at a time, like doing my work paperless, I could focus on that, wrap my mind around that, tell myself how I'm going to do that, and then I can focus on another aspect, another aspect, another aspect, until I've focused on all of them and told myself I can do this and it won't be that hard. Number 5, reframe. This one basically means to look at your situation differently. When doing this, you can turn a negative situation into a positive one. Like, say my favorite sweatshirt ripped, and this is like the weirdest example. Okay. For example, we all have to wear masks, and it may suck that we have to wear masks, but to reframe that, I could say I get to hide all my chin acne. Or you can just look at it as an added fashion accessory that you get to match to your outfit. Number 6, reflect. This one is one of my favorites personally. It basically means just take a minute, look at your past and look at your future and look at where you are now. Just take a moment to think about everything that's happening. For example, say I had a big test coming up. I could take a moment to reflect on everything I have to do, so I know I have to study chapter 1 of social studies, 3 vocab words for English, and 2 math problems. I wish this is all I had to study, but my number coming up with skills aren't very good right now. Yes, so you could take a moment and wrap your mind around everything you had to study, so then you were ready for the test, so you know exactly what you had to do. Number 7, focus on progress. This one can really help everyone. Going back to the example of the staircase, say you're on a staircase and you've made it halfway up, but you're still looking at all the way you have to go. And say you're daunted by the task of having to walk up that much more, but you look behind you and you see that you've already walked up that much. And you can see that you did that no problem, and you can go up the next half of the staircase. I know it seems like this is helping you get through a task or motivation, but relating it to change, when there's a big change happening, you often see the big changes you still have to go through, but once you look behind you, you can see all the change you already went through, and it often motivates you to keep going and keep going through and keep changing. I know, I believe in you. For example, say restaurants got all shut down, and you're very upset about this news and you don't know how you're gonna handle it. But when you look behind you, you already handled so much other things that when you see restaurants closed, it's not even a big deal anymore because of all the things you've already gone through. Number 8, venting. So I was researching ways to cope with change, and I saw this thing that said venting is not helping you, and I was like, that is crazy. Venting helps me so much because I say all my problems and then the weight's taken off my shoulders. And I just couldn't believe that venting was bad. And then I actually took a moment and I thought about it. I was like, oh wow, it is kind of bad. And let me explain this. So venting, you're sharing all your problems. So it's making your mind more aware of all the problems that you're facing, and it can often make small problems seem like huge ones. Also, you're not solving any problem. And just to see all those problems, it can go from like this big of a problem to like this big, just because you said them all out loud and you've explained them, and you're just so much more aware of all of them now. And it's harder to get past them then. And I know you're all gonna think I'm crazy right now saying this, but just give it an hour and it'll finally dawn on you that venting is actually bad. And I'm not saying a little bit of venting can't help. Talking out your problems with people can help so much, but then talking out a solution after that is the way that it can help you in progress and accepting the change that is put upon you. I feel like I need another sentence, but I don't have one, so let's go on. Number 9, you can always find a constant. Finding a constant can also help when a lot of change has been forced upon you, and you can look and find one thing that is still the same. A constant is something that's often used in science. I forget like the actual term. Isn't it like the consistent variable or something? So say they're doing an experiment, they think orange juice instead of water will help a plant grow. They'll just water one plant with water, the other one with orange juice, so they can compare the results of each. I don't think orange juice would actually help a plant grow, but whatever. For example, when playing sports now we have to wear masks, at least where I live, and a constant would be that we all still get to go to the sport and play. 10, don't resist. When change is forced upon us, it's forced upon us, and it's very hard to resist it. Resisting change can often cause more stress and just put you in a worse mental state than actually going through the change. And keep in mind that repetition can help so much. At the beginning of a change, the first time you do something, you're very unsure, but the more times you do the thing that has been changed, it feels more normal and more normal and more normal. For example, that repetition that made us all feel more okay with wearing the masks. And when you think about it, the first time you put one on, I know you were uncomfortable, I know you were unsure, and I know that it was almost scary, I guess, and stressful that you had to do that. And now it almost feels normal and comfortable. Okay, that's the end of the video. I said my 10 things. So if you found value in this video, definitely hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I'm gonna post a video. So that's a wrap. Peace.